industry being elitist.
Yes, it is. It's a I don't know, man. Like as soon as someone becomes a dog trainer, it's their way
Mm-hmm.
or the highway,
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time. It's kind of like this cultish mentality where like dog training started out as some guy in his backyard.
All right, y'all, welcome back to Bankedoutt Radio Show, the ultimate blueprint to the bag. We have locked away today with a special in-depth session. So if you are a pet parent anywhere in Paulding or the surrounding counties, I think I counted about 10 counties total,
Yep.
you want to put your phone on speaker right now. We have Dave, who's in the building. He's the founder of K9 Coaches LLC, the premier team for real world at home obedience and behavioral modification. Dave, welcome to the show, man.
Happy to be here.
So, very interesting when I was like doing my research, and we'll get into the origins and all that stuff. I think I saw where you did a lot of research and you started off pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing this, but training under the guise of like the K9s for police and stuff.
Yes, sir. So I actually got into training dogs kind of accidentally. I
Mm-hmm.
used to love watching police canine working dogs videos, and I just kind of wanted to know how to do it because I always like wanted my dog to be able to do that sort of deal. And then I guess the algorithms and crap like spied on me and recommended me like an actual dog training school to physically go to
Mm-hmm.
where I got to learn how to do that. I was in a bite suit like all the freaking time, sweating my butt
Mm-hmm.
off.
Yeah, I was about to say
Teaching,
that.
yeah, teaching dogs how to find bombs and drugs and do high level obedience and
Mm-hmm.
just work with like I basically got to work with like any type of working dog you can imagine: cadaver dog, search and rescue. Um, Not too much hunting yet. I've actually done more hunting after I've gotten out of school. But yeah, really just like everything. It was way more elaborate and big than I thought it was going to be when I showed up there.
So then, what inspired you to actually, open up your own business with this service? Because you could have just, kept doing it in the form of, just under the guise of someone else. Starting a business is a lot of
Sucks.
responsibility.
It sucks.
It sucks. I just love the candor. I just love it. It sucks.
Yeah. Um, that was never the plan. The plan was to actually work for someone, at least for like a couple years. But I
Yeah.
guess I was just in a location where that wasn't either maybe I wasn't looking hard enough or I didn't know how to look. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, I just eventually started, like I didn't work under Canine Coaches LLC. Like I worked under my own name and just like some
Mm-hmm.
ad hoc sole proprietorships for a little bit. But we, um, through like, moving, I was also in the military and reserves. I'm
Mm-hmm.
retired now from that, thank God. And we settled down and created Canine Coaches LLC about a
Mm-hmm.
year ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been training for just under 10 years. But canine, yeah, to answer your question, I kind of had to if I
Yeah.
wanted to train dogs,
Yeah.
and we just formalized it recently.
But I love the fact that you took that dive because a lot of people don't take that dive into entrepreneurship and building their own business because of
Yep.
fear, and you're doing it because out of necessity, which it
Yep.
does push a lot of people into necessity. But then still, some people are just fearful.
Yeah.
I want to get into some some core questions and stuff. Um, let's see here. I've been watching your content online, and because you aren't just training dogs in a quiet backyard, you take those dogs straight to heavy distraction zones like a Home
Home
Depot
Depot. Yep.
or a crowded park. For a pet parent who is currently terrified to walk their dog on a leash off of East Paulding Drive because of dogs flip out because of cars and other animals, what is the immediate psychological shift required to transition that dog to calm confidence?
All right, so we're talking about like a dog that's reactive and what is required. Really, the on leash behavior. I see so many people talking about like their dog being reactive in one way, shape, or form, but specifically on leash, the prescription is kind of the same.
Hmm.
You want to teach a heel, basically. I know that there are people who don't teach heels, but you need.
Stop building a podcast site using basic WordPress or Wix templates. You look like a hobbyist and it's killing your corporate sponsorship deals. Amateurs manually copy and paste embedded codes, fight with layout resizing and mobile feeds, and leave broken media players all over their sites. Professionals automate. The elite run on pod page architecture. Pod page connects straight from your RSS feed. The exact second you finish your audio export, it automatically generates a search engine optimization landing page, imports your show notes, and formulates a pristine mobile audio player that never freezes or lags. If you want to transition your show from an expensive hobby into a high utility media enterprise, for zero down, comment platform below. I'll slide a direct network optimization engine straight into your DMs.
To teach your dog what they're supposed to be doing instead,
Hmm.
basically. And when it comes to getting them out in public specifically, or even if you're passing by a dog on the street, you warm up to it like you would with a workout. You're not going to go into your first, I don't know, like New Year's resolution gym day and
Hmm.
put 500 pounds on the bar. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Um, you want to start at a manageable level. Like I always refer to it as distance management. If you have a
Hmm.
dog that's 100 yards away, is your dog still going to react from there? All right, 90, 80, 70. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Work in the ranges where they are still seeing them, but they aren't completely unmanageable, and then slowly close that distance. Also, when it comes to getting your dog out in public for the first time, a
Hmm.
warm up is really like the biggest thing. Is do a lap around your car, like get them a little bit tired first, like you know what I
Hmm.
mean, and that's just like the
Yeah.
short story game plan of what we do. But there's of course a bunch of work on the front end of that. You have to actually like know how to do a leash correction, know how and when to use treats and stuff like that. But that's the general game.
So you run K9 Coaches as a mobile in-home service. What made you decide to skip the traditional, brick and mortar kennel and to bring the training directly to the owner's living room?
I don't have $1 million and I don't like being in debt.
I
That's
love
why.
it. I love it. That's a great strategy.
Yeah. But so I have done board and training for both at the school and
Mm-hmm.
like I've tried doing it out of the house a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and I did it for a couple of years. I want to say, really, the grass is greener on this side. Most dog trainers, the board and train is their core,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an extremely inefficient business model. It's very expensive to not only take care of the dogs,
Mm-hmm.
but to maintain the facilities, and you have to charge very very high prices to have any sort of profit margin
Mm-hmm.
with a board and train. But it's really one of those things where like you have to have been in the game for a really long time, and you kind of already have to have the property and stuff like that. But honestly, what I've found is while I've transitioned to private lesson formats out of personal preference and out of my personal capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
I actually find better results with it. Um, because the number one issue that I would run into at a board and train is I would have a dog that would work for me just fine,
Mm-hmm.
but then you would have the owners have no idea what to do and how you got there, because sometimes they can't just see the end product. They kind of need to see how it was made, because you never know when you'll need to almost revert a
Mm-hmm.
step in training if there's a new stimulus added, like if there's a brand new environment they've never been or whatever. So the private lesson format, really, if you're good at it, I just see, honestly, I just see better results now than I ever did with board trainings. Because even if you did board and training and private lessons, you're not developing that relationship with the owner of the dog. So they're less likely to actually use those private lessons if they come with a board and training.
Yeah.
Because you're not developing the relationship with them personally.
I like how you have it in even inside the logo. I believe you said you're not only training the dog, but you're also training the owner as well.
Yep. Training dogs and their people. Yep. Because that's really what I mean. Like this, if you watch a single freaking episode of Caesar Milan or whatever, you're gonna see a million comments on YouTube. That's how I watch them. Of people talking about, oh, it's the owners really screwed this one up. The owners, blah 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 blah. Blame the owner, not the dog, for this, that, and the other. And it is very true. It's just that not everyone has the resources to be a good owner. So that's why in my service area, you do have the resources.
I love that. And I imagine because you have that business model, you're able to pass on price savings to your particular clients or customers.
Yeah, so long as the gas prices, don't
Yeah,
turn to $10 a gallon, then we're good. But that's pretty much it. It's a service-based business, not really a product-based business. So, well, of course, we have merchandise and stuff like that. But the biggest limiting factors is time. The biggest expense is gas, and I guess vehicle maintenance. But I usually fix all my own stuff if I have the tools to do it. So
you're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
I love it. You made an interesting comment when I was reading your Voyage, I believe it's Voyage ATL article.
Oh, yeah.
You said that the industry, and let me pull it up real quick so I don't misquote you.
I don't remember what I said, and God knows what I said.
Well, it was about over a year ago or so. So
okay.
You basically, you didn't hold back. You said straight up, let's see here, about the industry being elitist.
Yes, it is. It's a I don't know, man. Like, as soon as someone becomes a dog trainer, it's their way or the highway 99% of the time. It's kind of like this cultish mentality where like dog training started out as some guy in his backyard who like had particularly well-behaved dogs and he didn't know how he got there. It really didn't become formalized as an actual trade until recently. And you still have all these remnants of like people who only do one training method, and that it's that one training method and nothing else, and no one can say anything about it. And it's there's I never understood why the saying went like this, but there's multiple ways to skin a cat, and also like, how about we just do a little bit of all of the training techniques, and then we get different dogs, different people do different things. So why don't we just kind of mash all of the training techniques up and balance them? Hence the name balanced training.
Yeah, I've been from the limited research I was able to do. It seems like the consensus with some of the online posts is that, and I'm sure you would be able to vouch for how accurate this is, about, they say around 40 to 60% of dog trainers are just like mediocre at best.
Probably.
And then, then you got like the top 20% who are just fantastic.
Yeah.
Everybody's like just left with the whatever else there is. And it was said that I guess there's like, as far as an industry, is not like regulated like other industries are, and you have to have all these different criteria because you have a lot of different certifications, but everybody claims that their particular certification is better than the other one. Is that what you experienced?
It's the wild, wild west, man. It's the wild, wild west. It's there's no governing bodies. Like, whenever you see, so I am certified by the school I went to. I mean, I think I still have the paper somewhere. It's, I mean, like it's you have there's no like government oversight for this at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I could pretty much create a certification just in the next 24 hours if I wanted to, and I could probably, hold as much weight as anyone's certification that has been around for 10 plus years. But it's it goes back to what I say. Everyone like has like a particular method or a particular like small group of methods, and they just say, "Oh, this worked for XYZ dog. This will work for 100% of them." Um, it's it's just I think that a lot of trainers don't have the open mindedness and the kind of permanent student mentality that you need in order
Mm-hmm.
to continue to improve.
Yeah,
And really, you need that mentality if you're going to start a business. You need to always be learning because there's always something to learn.
I definitely agree. So with social media and how it is impacting the industry and just business in particular, we see 30-second clips on TikTok and Instagram of aggressive dogs magically cured in one session.
Oh my
As a
God.
professional, I love it. As a professional, how has that viral social media culture impacted clients' expectations when they call canine coaches?
Well, usually I always surpass expectations, especially with aggressive dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dogs, like the being cured in one session thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is very realistic, kind of. Like you can, like let's say I get an aggressive dog and I spend that first hour with them. I can get that dog to where I'm walking them very like well on the leash, and they're not barking, they're not growling anymore. But a big part of that is fatigue, and because adrenaline only lasts so long. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you have a very aggressive dog and you know what you're doing, you get the leash, you have the protective equipment. After about, especially depending on how hot it is outside, um, they're going to calm down anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the real struggle is that every time when they're fresh, they don't even start the behavior. So it's
Mm-hmm.
actually very realistic for an aggressive dog to very quickly, seemingly quickly, in like a single session or whatever, kind of not be like buddy buddy with like the trainer or whatever, but just to be handleable and kind of look well controlled after just 30, 20, 20 to 40-ish minutes, like I said, depending on the fatigue. Because, like I said, that usually aggressive behavior is based in adrenaline, and anyone who's had an adrenaline dump before can tell you get exhausted after it, and you're not really in your fight or flighter anymore.
Yeah. I've seen a multitude of videos where dogs are charging at people. Of course, people, their adrenaline is going, so they want to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Is there any way to like be able to assess in that moment whether or not a dog is actually going to bite you, or do we assume the worst?
That is so tough. Usually, whenever like if I'm just like out and about, like not working, sometimes like a dog will, like yeah, whatever with me. Because of my particular experience seeing so many dogs bite and
Mm-hmm.
getting dogs to bite, I usually will just call their bluff, maybe press forward a little bit, and like 99% of the time, the dog's just gonna be like, "Oh crap, I wasn't expecting him to do that and go away." Just doing that for my own personal safety, not for a training reason.
Okay.
Um, because it is very difficult to actually get a dog to bite, um, like confidently. Really, like most bites you see out in the wild, they're kind of like little, and then they're like
Mm-hmm.
the get away from me bites, except for in extreme cases. But it's really hard to tell without just the small, the small, oof, like in a split second type of situation where you have to make a decision quickly. It would be really hard without just seeing that sight picture over and over again. But really, I guess the biggest thing is if there is any backwards movement from the dog at all, they're probably more scared of you than you are of it. So could probably just scare it right off or whatever. One thing you do want to look for is if you're trying to determine between if it's play or aggression,
Mm-hmm.
the tone, the pitch of the bark, the
Mm-hmm.
deeper it is, Whereas if it's a higher pitched one, it's like I had one dog that I actually just started working with recently.
Mm-hmm.
She was barking and carrying on at everybody. And then I was like, this might be an aggressive case, but I was like, all right, just drop the leash. And the dog just wanted to play. And everyone thinks that it's a aggressive dog. Never bit anyone, but just constantly barking. She's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a big dog.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like the whatever. But I would look for any action of backing away before it comes to you. If it backs away at all, it's probably you're likely to scare it off. Like I said, if this is a self-defense type of situation, I would also
Mm-hmm.
look for hair standing up, and I would look for a general stiffness.
Mm-hmm.
Stiff usually means that they're about to like guard and
Yeah.
then go forward usually. But if they're kind of loose, that might be more play. But also, there's kind of a spectrum to it. They could be playfully curious, but they're also a little scared, so they're a little bit on edge. So that's just
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those nuanced situations.
Have you had any particular species of dog that is, I guess, comes out more well trained or recipients of being trained than the other species?
So, that's a tough question to answer. There are a couple dog breeds that once you work with them and once you do the right things, they could be some of the best dogs you ever own.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't work with them, they're like the worst dogs ever. So it's kind of like that. If you work with them, they're great, but if you
Mm-hmm.
don't, like terrible. Like there are some dogs you can never work with them ever, like a lazy lab mix or something like that, and they'll still probably be one of the best dogs you've ever had. Whereas something like a golden doodle or a labradoodle, or really any
Mm-hmm.
doodle, or a German Shepherd, or even, like I'm getting some Malinois now. Those are all great dogs if you work with them. Um, Typically, to answer your question, herding breeds, shepherd
Mm-hmm.
breeds, are
Mm-hmm.
great. Work with them,
Okay.
and they love working usually, but they have to work. That's the catch. Is they love working, but they have to.
Mm-hmm. When a potential customer reaches out to you and wants you to come in and help them assist with training their dog, what's a typical timeline that you would have to work with them in order to get the result that they're looking for?
My most popular like training plan is like 10 weeks,
Okay.
10 weekly sessions. That's the timeline I'm most comfortable with, just because of repetition of it. That's the timeline that we get to do like everything. Like that's where we are going to the Home Depot, to the parks and stuff like that. Where I'm bringing in my distraction dogs, because that's another big thing I do. I have 3 dogs and I bring them in. Like you train how
Mm-hmm.
you fight. Your dog needs to be
Mm-hmm.
worked around other dogs, so I bring mine. But yeah, that's the structure that I like working with the most. It's a good balance.
So nothing below that. You don't offer any type of like
Oh no,
service
I
below
do.
the 10. Oh, you
I
do.
do. Yep, I do 4s and 6s as well. I also do 15s and 20s now. But yeah, the 4s and the 6s, that's for like single purpose, or they don't have like those are for like medium, low input required dogs, puppies that they're trying to get a good start on. Or like I said, like a dog is really well behaved, but maybe they just have one or two specific issues that are kind of mild to moderate, and or they just you know can't afford 10. So we got to do something. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
You want to be able to provide a service for those who might not be able to afford the 10, but then so they can see the value of it, and then they might, you know what I'm saying, they'll be like, hey, you know what? Let
Exactly.
me go ahead and get those
Yep.
other 6.
Yeah, and I've had some people who like I've only done 4 sessions with, and they're like awesome dogs. Just never know. Every dog is different. Every owner is different. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
like I can teach an owner like everything they need to know in like 3 sessions, and then they're just personally kind of talented in the area, and I don't really need to teach them much more other than some very small things over time. But that's usually pretty rare.
I
Usually
see.
people suck at
Mhm.
training dogs when they come to me. So
Well, hey, get you plenty of time to work with them, and the fact that this is your livelihood.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love it. Have you ever had people that like their expectations were like way too high, or is your onboarding process to where you really dial them into like realistic expectations?
Honestly, I think that most people have their expectations too low when I first come over.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think that uh, I can't remember the last time I've had someone who. But, yeah, usually I get people who have their expectations too low, and they're like signing up for 10. They're like, "Do you think we'll be able to go to Home Depot one day?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll probably go by like 5 or 6." Like,
I
like
love it because
you know what I mean?
like we said, the industry is so murky, and you said it's wild, wild west out there. So they probably have had previous experiences where they were not as well, and then here you come in, and you're in the top echelon of training, so they don't even know what they're really going to get. So yeah, I can see where the expectations are low, but it's also like it's good for you because there's a
Yeah,
concept of under promise but over deliver.
yeah,
It
yeah,
fits right into that mold of that without you really having to try to do anything.
yeah. And it's kind of funny. Like, you've heard of the Dunning Kruger effect, right?
Hmm.
The like where you when you become more of an expert at something, you don't like you're not
Yeah.
as boisterous about it over time.
Hmm.
Like when you're when you're taught a skill brand new, you're like super confident about it. You're like advertising this, and that. Whereas as you become more of an expert, you kind of learn that you don't know everything. So
Hmm.
you start like having more of a baseline with your
Hmm.
attitude towards your own job. And once again, that comes into that being a permanent student mentality. Like even even if I perceive like a competitor or whatever as doing something that I wouldn't normally do, I like to kind of extrapolate what are they doing, what is the use case of this specific technique that they're using. Maybe I put that tool in my back pocket because you never know when it might be useful to me one day if it's not part of my regular system. And to point out something you said, a lot of my clients do come from like they've had training before with their dog, so
Hmm.
kind of a little between me and my wife because she's the one who does my social medias and all that.
Hmm.
If we see that like a client or a lead, like converted to somebody else, we always make the joke, all right, we'll see in about 6 months then.
Yeah.
Because because
I
it's
get
just the
it.
case. It literally happens all the time. I can't tell you how many times like a dog would uh, they would talk to me first, but then they would shop
Hmm.
around for a little bit, and someone else would make the sale on them,
Hmm.
and we literally hear back from them about 6 to 12 months later, and they're like, "Hey, I took my dog here." I was like, "Oh yeah, we talked before," and then
Hmm.
now we're working.
Yeah, I do that a lot when I do marketing and stuff because I do marketing, content creation and stuff for small businesses, and I've had it to where people go somewhere else, because they don't know what they're really looking for,
Yeah,
and they don't know what's really out there. So of course, sometimes people are more price conscientious than what they should be, and it's they have to learn. That's what the way I look at it. Been doing
yeah,
this too long to where I was like, oh, it doesn't matter if they don't shop with me today; they'll be around.
yeah.
I've made my introduction and I've told them this is realistically what you can get, and then that they can get more from somewhere else, and then they have a bad experience, and then they come back to someone who is actually honest with them up front. Excuse me. When I was going through the social media, I saw that y'all have a lot of different partnerships that y'all have
Yeah.
done. How has those partnerships been for y'all, and what made you want to use it as a strategy within the business?
Well, we just want a community. Part of it is because the only way we know how to make friends is through work. So
Hmm.
that's part of it too. Is at the end of the day, this should be like a fun kind of industry to play around in. This is pets. This is people getting out, having fun, hanging out with each other. So that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one of it is for you know being mutually beneficial with each other. You know, I'm a dog trainer, you have dog treats. I'm a dog trainer, you have dog grooming stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to touch either of those two things, but if you want to like help me and I help you, totally cool with that.
Love it. Where do you see the business going in the future? Do you have particular goals you want to accomplish? Because, as a trainer, you can only do so much right now and you can plateau.
Yeah, so I do have a couple of goals. One, I do actually want to start taking an apprentice here soon. I just want one good guy or gal. Um, I'm going to train them up for probably a long time before I let them loose, and then we're going to go from there. I do want to, once I do have that apprentice trained up, I do want to get back into working dogs. But in the meantime, um, the big project right now is courses, video, educational content, stuff like that. We're looking at some school stuff where it's like some monthly subscription type deal, as well as actual like you pay one time full courses, and then in when I'm comfortable with it, then I'll probably also do like a course on how to make your own dog training business and sell that for a lot of money.
I love it. I love that you got this plan
Yep,
for the
got to
future.
do it. That's
So,
why I've
yeah,
started taking Mondays off so I can work on all that crap.
yeah, I think from an entrepreneur standpoint, a lot of people forget that not only a lot of solopreneurs or small business owners are the technicians of the work within the business, but you also have to work on the business itself.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because it can be really easy to be an employee in your own business. Sometimes that's really just like if you're operating with no debt and you're not trying to hyperscale at a uh, whatever. That's a really good lean way of doing it, but you have to be willing to work the extra 10 to 15 hours a week that you don't necessarily get paid for yet in order to expand.
How was it getting your first client under your business?
Under this one,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I mean, it was normal. I kind of took a little break for like a year training dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say a break. I took a couple people that I like knew, but I wasn't like advertising dog training or whatever. And there was a little bit of rust to shake off. Like I was using a piece of notebook paper to tell them their prices and their homework and stuff like that. But once the rust shook off, it got it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Except for
What have
riding a bike
you
doesn't make you this much money.
What have you learned that's been the most impactful lesson in running your own business?
Oh gosh. You know what? I think the biggest one is financial planning.
Mm.
Um, I am my own financial planner as well. I have multiple different accounts that have multiple different purposes. The typical like your high reward savings, your stock
Mm-hmm.
portfolio, your drips, your I have to manage my own retirement because I'm self-employed. I have
Mm-hmm.
my own IRAs, and I have to figure out. I have to direct them where they go. Because when you're investing, because I see a lot of people, especially, and we made this mistake a lot, is you would make money, right? And then you would
Mm-hmm.
want to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to reinvest this back into my own business so that the business can make more money. But there's only so far that can go in so little time. So you want to make sure that your money is working for you
Mm-hmm.
without you having to actively do anything once you set it in the account or buy that asset or whatever. And it can give you a little bit more long-term goals, like you could, invest your portfolio in XYZ index fund or whatever to help you uh, purchase property for your business in the future. Instead of just having it sit there and you're saving up a couple $100,000, you're actually gaining capital and interest for the couple years it would take you anyway, so that you can use that money to purchase property or purchase a facility or purchase equipment,
Mm-hmm.
purchase a dog. That's one of the big things that we're going to get is, like probably going to end up importing a working dog when we do get back into working dogs. So instead of just letting that money sit there, it's invested so that we never have to think about loans. We never have to think about banks. We are our own bank, and we are, we have money working even when we aren't working.
How big do you want your business to grow? Are you trying to get it to nationwide, southeast, regionally? Have you thought about how big you want it to get?
That's a tough question, really. I guess as big as I can without leverage, and as big as I can without compromising quality and values. I for the most part want to, everyone wants to be as rich as they possibly can in America. I had a friend say this to me, and he was a really stupid friend, but he said this thing correctly, and he said the reason that communism would never work in America is because all Americans think that they're just disenfranchised billionaires. So, we always want more money, and I wouldn't necessarily mind having a bit of recognition, but at the end of the day, I just want to. I got into this because I wanted to do something that I enjoy doing. I wanted to contribute to society, and I want to, when it comes to money, I just don't want to have to worry about money. I don't want to have to owe somebody something. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. Aside from that, I don't really. My dream car is just a new paint job on my old Camry right now.
I love it.
If someone gave me $1 million, I probably wouldn't buy a nice car. I'd probably buy property just so I don't have to pay rent anymore. But you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I love that. That says a lot about a person to me. When, like you said, you're just bettering the community. One dog at a time, one owner at a time. You're not in it for the money. Of course, you have to make money because you have to live and you have expenses and all that. But that's not your driving force. That's not why you wake up every day and pursue this.
Right.
Do you feel like within your peer group you're in a class of your own? Because I heard you mention earlier, pretty much y'all make friends through business.
Yeah, you said class of our own,
yeah, meaning that the rest of your peer group or age group, they're not doing the same thing that you're doing. I'm like,
oh yeah, no, I can't tell you how many friends I have that are my age. All of my friends my age are I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're I don't know,
just enjoying life right now.
I don't know. Yeah, no, most of our friends are older than us. So yeah, I've thought that exact same thing multiple times.
Well, I think
they're doing their own thing.
Is this your first official business?
No. Nope.
See, you've been down this road before with others. So I tell people all the time, when you have a business or businesses that you've done, it changes your mindset because a lot of people don't realize, most of the businesses when they start, they're bootstrapped, where they money to start the business and all that, and that puts you in a different mindset than a lot of other people who are pursuing dreams and goals and aspirations in that particular manner. So the way that you look at stuff is a little bit differently than other people, the way that they look at stuff.
Yes, it is. And like I said, it sucks in the beginning when you don't know what you're doing. Because everyone wants to be their own boss until they figure out they're a shitty boss.
I love it.
So I had to learn to not be not suck at my job.
Yeah.
And it's.
How important was advertising and marketing, or how important do you view that now?
Yeah, so it's obviously very important. We don't really. I can't tell you. I could probably count on one hand how many ads we've done ever. Most of our stuff is organic, and until I hire a couple people, I probably won't ever need to really touch ads that much. Really, almost all of our stuff is is organic. It comes from our website. It comes from our posts. It comes from recommendations. That, like I said, when we need more clients, like we need much larger volumes of clients, we'll probably look more into ads, and that's its own skill that that's its own muscle that we probably need to work. But we don't really mess with ads much.
Yeah. I definitely get that. And I can tell that y'all have a really good organic reach and referral system, just based off the videos. I think even on the, I was reading your Yelp reviews, which they were all positive.
Yeah.
So I can tell that people really do enjoy the service that you provide. I did want to know, in particularly, why, like, I looked at how you're based. So, you know, Paulding County and then pretty much every county that surrounds it.
Yep.
Why structure it that way as opposed to just staying within, like, you know, 2 or 3 counties?
Just because, I don't know. I'm just not a stranger to driving far, I guess you could say. And Big Net catches more fish.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd rather be overeating than undereating.
I like that.
I like I've worked like 80-hour weeks for so long. I've worked 7 days a week so long, like a 50 to 60 every week is nothing to me.
Would you even expanding that then? Let's say if people in Gwinnett or on the other side of Metro Atlanta or even down, was it Clayton County or Stockbridge or something like that, if they wanted to utilize your services?
Yeah, I've done really large drives. The big ones that I don't really want to mess with too much is ones that make me go through Atlanta, because a 1.5 hour drive can very quickly turn into a 3 hour drive.
Yes.
Time. But people are willing to pay more for the extra drive. I don't mind it.
Okay.
So long as the schedules line up.
Yeah.
I don't mind an 1.5 hour drive, honestly. I'm kind of used to driving.
That's what's up. So for anybody out there that wants to jump into this industry in some shape or form or fashion, what would be 2 pieces of advice that you would give them?
Like if someone wants to get into dog training.
Mm-hmm.
2 pieces of advice. Let's see. I can't say that. I would say first, if you could go to a school where you get hands-on training, do it. And avoid learning methods that completely exclude other methods in general. Like, don't go to the prong collar guy who never uses treats and only uses chains and whips. Don't go to the treat person who will want to send PETA to your home to burn your property down if you use a prong collar, e-collar, and, you know, just all of the shades in between. Just go learn from somebody who does a little bit of everything. And it's just kind of normal, doesn't give you a weird zealot type of vibe, like an egotistical whatever. Just do the same vetting you would do if you were looking towards any job or trade. Like, dog training is the only trade where, you know, if you get 2 people who do it, they're going to argue about how to do something instead of, you know, actually have a productive conversation about what they do for a living. If you got 2 electricians or 2 plumbers together, they probably wouldn't disagree on much. Whereas if you got 2 dog trainers together, they would like try to disagree on everything.
Yeah, which is crazy. Because, like you said, there's a lot of different ways to do things.
It's like,
and dogs have, I believe all dogs have different personalities, and their owners do too.
yeah, it's like there's kind of like a mix of standards as well as creativity. It's definitely a mix of both. There are things that distractedly work,
Hmm.
and you want to have kind of like an analytical, left-brained way of thinking about it, and then add in some of the creativity to sprinkle on top, in my opinion, some of the artistic flair. Um,
Yeah.
People just think it's like this hippy dippy thing. It's you can just this is something that you can actually learn and actually do just like anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, my two pieces of advice: look for people who don't exclude certain training methods to teach you, and man, that's the big one. Um, well, I guess second piece of advice would be get your own dog. Try to train them up to the highest level you possibly can, so that you always have something to practice with.
And the last two things. One, this is the intersection of music and business talk. How do dogs normally respond to music, and is there any particular type of music that pet owners can use to help with training, if that's a thing, or just calming the dog?
So it's an interesting question. That's one that I've not really thought of too much, but I do know that a lot of like calming music can help with anxious dogs, especially if you're leaving them by themselves over long periods of time. Your typical classical music, or even um, like poppy type sounds. But one thing that I have done is, particularly dogs that are scared of loud sounds, I've used like heavy metal, rock music, whatever, and started it at low volumes and slowly turned it up to desensitize them to certain loud sounds. Um,
Okay.
because you do have some dogs that are like that, and that's a very easy um, thing you can work into your daily life if you have a very anxious dog. Put it even on put it. You could even put on playlists of like Saving Private Ryan sound effects, construction noise playlists, stuff like that. That's something that I have actually told people to do for dogs that are super scared. Because you do that when you're feeding them, um, when they're eating dinner or breakfast or something. Once again, start very low volume, then each day or whatever, you increase it a little bit.
Okay.
And I can do a little bit.
For anyone out there that's interested in having you come out train a dog, if they want to learn more about the other services and the materials that you have on the website, or follow social media, where do they need to go?
You can Facebook is probably Facebook, Nextdoor. I think we also have TikTok and Instagram. Canine Coaches LLC for all. It'll have the logo that are blue, black, and yellow with the lab with the hat on. Uh, you can find us on all of those. We have like a million videos. That's the one thing that kind of distinguishes us from a lot of trainers in the area is we post like the most training footage.